is the prohibition to greet before blessing the Creator in the work. You can find the article in the Studied Materials tab in the AR system. You can also send questions live through the system. If you ask a question here in the study hall, make sure you stand up, get the microphone close to your mouth, and it's loud and clearly. Article: what is the prohibition to greet before blessing the Creator in the work? Z writes in item 51, started leave off the man whose breath is in his nostrils, for why should he be regarded? Was the prophet cautioning to avoid the rest of the people, and that the rest of the people should avoid him, so people would never draw near to each others? That the verse speaks of one who come to the doorstep of one's friend to greet him before he blesses the Creator. He was said about this leave off on the face of it. What is the prohibition if a person greets his friend before he blesses the Creator? It is that it seems as though he honors his friend before he honors the Creator. But does the Creator need honor? That we can say that if one does not bless him before his friend, it is a blemish in his honor. This is similar to a man walking into a hand house, seeing that one rooster looks at another and does not pay attention to the man who is the landlord. Can it be said that the rooster blemished the landlord? It is much more so with regard to the created beings compared to the Creator. His distance from man is far too great for man to be regarded as anything compared to the Creator, that we can say that he has blemished the glory of the Creator. We should also understand what is written. The verse speaks of one who comes to the doorstep of one's friend. Why is it specifically the doorstep of one's friend? What does it imply? It is as though if he does not come to the doorstep of his friend, he is permitted to greet his friend. We should interpret this with regard to man's work, for in the work we speak of everything within one person, that his friend and greeting are also in the same person. It is known that man's work is to achieve adhesion with the Creator, called equivalence of form, since we learn that from the perspective of the Creator, whose desire is to good to his creations he created. In the creatures a desire to receive, that is regarded as yearning to receive delight and pleasure. This is called the purpose of creation, in order not to suffer shame. A correction was made called tam and concealment, so we do not feel the K and the delight and pleasure found in. Although we say each day the whole earth is full of his glory, there is still concealment on it, so we must believe it. Yet as long as one has not corrected one's actions to work in order to bestow, we do not feel it. Instead, it depends on man's work in obtaining the vessels of bestow. To that extent Thartam departs, and he begins to feel the existence of the Creator. This is all of our work to achieve equivalence of form, called with the Creator, in order to be rewarded with vessels of ball. There is a complete procession of work, as Sam interpreted in the matter of the three souls within man, one in which there is nothing to correct, the knee of the three impure seapot in which there is nothing to correct, as this will be corrected only at the end of correction, there of which is half good and half bad. All of man's work is in this niche. If a person performs a mitzvah, this connects to, if he commits it, transgression, this niche connects to the niche of the three impure seapot. Hence in this niche he can determine between good and bad, and all the work is only in this. For this reason, when a person begins to engage in truth in order to achieve the with the Creator, he has two ways before him. The reward for the work he does will be for his own benefit and not for the sake of the Creator. Regarded as wanting to nurse the niche, he will receive the reward for his work. If he wants to nurse the through his word, the reward for his work will be only for the sake of the Creator. His work feeds the of this is called that they have joins where. However, we should know that achieving the degree where all your works are for the sake of the Creator is not done at once. Rather, as our sages said, man's inclination overcomes him every day, and were it not for the help of the Creator, he would not overcome it. That is, we see that our sages come to tell us two things. One, it is impossible to subdue the bad in one time, rather. Each day there's new work, as it is written, man's inclination overcomes him every day. A person cannot subdue it without the help of the Creator. These two discernments are called light and cle. This means that the deficiency that a person finds but the evil controls him is the cle, that is, he feels how far is from working for the sake of the Creator in the matter of love the Lord with all your heart, etc., and not for its own sake. The body cannot understand how can such a thing be, as it is completely against all intellect and reason for such a thing to be. In reality, a person can understand the matter of assuming the burden of the kingdom of heaven only if by this the Creator will give him all of his heart's wishes. That a person can understand that the Creator will serve the man and provide for all his needs. But if it is to the contrary, meaning that man should serve the Creator and always think how he can please the Creator, so the Creator will enjoy his work, as it is written, the Lord will rejoice with his works, meaning that the works of the Creator, who are the creatures, will delight him. Then a person asks, what will I gain by pleasing the Creator, since man's body understands only that which pertains to its own benefit? This lack that a person begins to feel that he cannot work for the sake of the Creator is called a cle, meaning a need for someone to help him have a desire to work for the sake of the Creator. The help he receives from above is regarded as the Creator helping him, is regarded as light. Those two appear one at a time and not at once. This is why it was said, man's inclination overcomes him every day. That is, the light and the cle are not completed in one day, rather it is, as it is written, penny by penny join into a great amount until the cle receives the full measure of the lack that is suitable to receive light in full. This is as it is written in the said, day to day expresses utterance, and night to night reveals knowledge, etc. This is so because prior to the end of correction, before we qualified our vessels of reception to receive only in order to give contentment to our Maker and not for our own sake, is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is so because is the guidance of the world by people's actions. This guidance qualifies us to ultimately correct our vessels of reception in order to bestow and to be rewarded with the delight and pleasure he had contemplated in our favour. Often the guidance of good and evil causes us ascents and descend. Know that each ascent is regarded as a separate day, since all those nights are the descents, the suffering and punishments that stopped the with the Creator until they became many days one after their other. Now once the night and darkness have also become merits and good deeds, there are no more stops, and all 6,000 years connect into one great day. This is the meaning of day to day expresses utterance, since the word that separated between one day and the next has now become a great praise and praises it, for it has become a merit. They all became one day for the Lord, since only all of them together assembled became worthy of receiving that great knowledge. It therefore follows that only through the ascents and descent called days and nights, when they join into the complete measure to be able to receive the great knowledge, there must be a great cle vessel, meaning a great need. This happens because of the descends when he sees that each day he becomes more needy of the Creator to help him emerge from self-love. Each day means the ascents, meaning that each time he receives help called light and abundance, for the light in it reforms him. This is considered that the Creator helps him, for specifically through both we obtain a cle that is fit to receive the delight and pleasure that the Creator contemplated in his favour. This is considered that he received the correction and the qualification to receive the purpose of creation, which is to do good to his creations. However, the most difficult part of the work is that the order of the work is as two writings that deny one another. It is hard to understand how the two can be true. For example, it is written in the essay about the order of the work by Bam that when attributing the work of to the Creator, to believe that the Creator accepts our work regardless of how the work seems, that is, it does not matter if he works with much knowledge and understanding, but if he attributes the work to the Creator, meaning works with the aim to bestow, the Creator accepts his work willingly, even if it is the simplest, without any understanding. However, he must aim to bestow, he said, that one way or the other. We must believe that he will hear even if he does not aim specifically to bestow, that he is speaking to the Creator. Then a person must believe that the Creator hears his prayer. On the other hand, it is written in the sage's fruit that a person must yearn to attain the Creator, meaning adhere to him with complete recognition that this is regarded as the Creator. This means that a person must work on the right line regarded as wholeness, and pray to the Creator and thank him even if he does not find within him anything that desires spirituality. But accordingly, how can he thank the Creator and say the Creator hears what he has, what he says to him, which is the meaning of attributing the work to the Creator, and he accepts his work regardless of how the work seems. However, if he relates only to the Creator and says, I am turning to the Creator and I believe that he can answer my wishes, by this a person becomes happy and feels superior. That is, the rest of the people have no connection to spirituality, and he believes that the Creator has given him a feeling that he has no spirituality in whatever way, but the fact that he has an interest in thinking about spirituality, it makes no difference if he has or hasn't, or that he is now in utter loneliness, meaning that he sees that now he has no desire to ascend in degree and emerge from the loneliness, but he thanks the Creator because at least he is thinking about spirituality, while the rest of the people do not have any thoughts of spirituality. If he can thank the Creator, it gives him joy. He comes to, by this he ascends from his state of wholeness and can thereby come to a state, or even if he forgets the state of loneliness he was in prior to making the calculation and thanking the Creator, it appears to him as though he has always been in this state. This extends from the discernment that the blessed clings to the blessed, since the thanks that he gives to the Creator makes a person feel whole, and to that extent of the joy he extends, so he can ascend in degree. We must say that this path is true, meaning that man hasn't the power to assess the importance of, but even touching anything of, is infinitely more important to the Creator than all the corporeal things. About corporeal things, a person knows that it's worthwhile to thank the Creator for this, since the Creator gave the corporeal pleasures, so that the person who receives them will feel joy and elation. Conversely, he gave the for the purpose of correction, as we learned about the concealment and hiding. However, a person should believe that he can give much gratitude when the importance of a matter is revealed to him, but that which does not appear to him is important. Person does not appreciate. Nonetheless, one wishes to come into the work of their Creator must believe in the sages and say that a tiny touch on Cas is regarded as a great thing. He should work on this and appreciate the matter until he can elicit joy from that small thing. Our sages call this who is rich he who is content with his lot, who settles for little, that is, even for a small thing he can be grateful as though it were a great thing. For this reason, any contact he has, even a negative one, is still regarded as positive. In other words, the fact that a person sees and feels that he has no desire and yearning for work which is truly negative, if he can extract from this and see how at least he has a thought to think about spirituality, he thanks and praises the Creator that he has dealings with. Spirituality, while he sees that there are people to whom the Creator did not even allow to think about the work. He believes that the Creator did choose him to give the knowledge that there is the matter of spirituality, and says that it is only that the Creator has not given him permission to enter and do the holy work. If he can derive joy from that state, he can pull him out of his state of loneliness and admit him into the. However, on the other hand, the person must awaken within him the value of the work on the path of truth. What a person must correct. This is as it is written there, that a person must achieve wholeness, be rewarded with 620 times more than he had prior to the descent of the soul into the body. Although this contradicts the quality of the right, it is still true, meaning the Hess is precisely to come to correct what he must. Now we can understand what we asked about the prohibition to greet his friend before he blesses the Creator. We must know that in the work every person is a whole world. It follows that his friend means the body, in the sense that if he that it has any to greet means to have wholeness before he blesses the Creator, that is his foundation must be to bless the Creator, meaning that everything he does is for the sake of the Creator and not for his own sake, which is the knees of the three impure sepot. For this reason, when he first tries to aim that everything will be for the sake of the Creator, he can then greet his friend, meaning then he subdues his friend in that he is subjugated to also work for the sake of the Creator. Follows that if he believes the Creator before he greets his friend, it means he wants the glory of the Creator to be revealed, as it is written, when the Lord favors man's ways, even his enemies will make peace with him. This is how it should be, and not the other way around. This is the meaning of the prohibition to come to the doorstep of one's friend, etc. Yes, Mama. It says that one who settles for little glues or add tears to the how do I know that I settle for little and not just become passive in my work? Yes. Does someone have an answer? And no one. Yes, he writes here that the sign for it is joy. Person should be happy that he is content with being given something in spirituality. So if has joy, I get is in a good state. Can it is written here, on the other hand, a person should awaken in himself the value of the work on the path of truth, meaning what a person must correct. So that's exactly what he asked, I think. Read again. However, on the other hand, a person must awaken within him the value of the work on the path of truth, meaning what a person must correct. I think this is exactly the answer. Yes. He writes here he settles for little regarding the reward and not regarding the work, meaning the work, as Baram describes here, is the light that he receives from above the Christ help, so it only grows. So a person doesn't settle for little. Yes, that's it. Right, thanks he gives to the Creator makes a person feel whole. How can we feel whole in my present state and at the same time demand correction because I'm not really in a whole state? It's a question, how do we maintain the two states? On one hand, to thank the Creator, feel complete in the present state, at the same time demand further correction because I'm not really complete. I feel complete. Now what do you feel complete about? Question on the current state I'm at here. I'm happy with my share for this moment. Did you really receive an answer from the Creator? Let's say I did. In the present state I get a complete state. Everything is complete, but it's a feeling that it's the present feeling. It's not really. I haven't finished my correction, but if it's the present feeling that it seems like you are at the moment in completeness, friend, and there's no criticism at that moment. Love, how what do you compare it to? I don't know, it's kind of euphoric. You depict yourself a feeling of completeness in the present, but you're still aware that you haven't completed your correction, so you're thankful for this moment. What do you think? Again, yes, the complete state is when we have thoughts about the Creator and about the situation of the left we can ask for correction. That's also true, said that's it can. Yes may like D this question, but he says here he can see how he has a thought about spirituality. It sounds like a psychological exercise. I'm in a bad state, but if I succeed in saying oh well, it is good, it's like that because I still touch spirituality and the Creator nevertheless notices me, so I invert myself. Is it a psychological exercise? Why psychological exercise? Well, the one it's like that. On the other hand, it's like this. No, it's something you made up. There is no other side here because he's connected to the Creator. Adhere to him. Question: a person feels disconnected in descent, and then he tells himself, so I got this descent from the Creator, so that sweetens the situation for him. Yes, don't you feel that it happens like this? Question I'm asking, isn't it like a psychological exercise? It's not psychological if I feel that I'm in a state of descent and I'm still adhere to the Creator, that I received this descent from him, and that situation is a complete situation in itself. He comes to the state that was talking about after he sees that there are people to whom the Creator didn't even give a thought about the work, and I did get a thought, so I'm grateful, I praise him. But there are people who didn't, to whom he didn't give a thought, but in the beginning and in the end it says that the person is a small world, that everything is within man. So who are those people? What does he see? People who are not. And who is this person who thinks he did get a thought? It's all within the person. Why within a person? Question: because he sees a person is a small world. So who are the people he sees to whom he didn't give even a thought about the work? It's him. Okay, he's got a question. Yes, turns out that the right line is itself made of left descent and right ascent. Is it correct to think that way? Yes. Question: so when he gets to that state out of descent, and he appreciates what he got as an opportunity for sending, and in this wholeness he already, only then can he greet his friend. And he writes here, what does it mean to greet a friend? To connect and justify. What more can? But Remy was asking, there's a paragraph here, meaning when a person feels how he has no desire to work, which is truly negative. So that's the desires within him. There is such a desire that he doesn't want, that is just negative, and still, if he can come out of it and see how he has even a thought to think about spirituality, that he praises the Creator for having some interest in spirituality. So these are states within a person, that he sees what he has, what he doesn't, but it's this personal treatment that he has given a desire. Still, all the states are within man. Yes, so he has to put the focus on just even being awakened and see that, and be grateful for that, and just ignore all the rest. Put everything aside and only engage in that. This is on the one hand at even though he's in that state, the Creator awakens him and gives him some thoughts with which he can deal with what they raise in him. But if he won't do it now, if he doesn't praise that point he received, then these thoughts will just cover him, drown him. Yes, he'll just go with a flow meaning he'll fall even from the little bit he is. So how do you grab hold of that point and put the emphasis on this gratitude? Ask their friends who can help him explain your question. Again, state described is that one sees he has no desire for the work, but with it he also identifies that he has a thought that this state comes to him from the Creator. Yes, how to grab hold of that thought and be thankful for it and see it as a great thing, even if it's a little thought, and not just to fall into not having a drive to do anything. Well, the last time we read the article I wrote this is what we have to always transmit to each other, how much zero in the vessels of reception is respected, and even just a little bit of connection to the Creator is respected. This is true as well, but still, what is the answer to Gillette? I think it's just from always reminding each other how the connection to the Creator of any kind, even the smallest, even negative, is greater than all the corporeal things. Correct started waking. Yes in the answer, he also writes that the faith in the sages is that even a touch on K is a great fortune, and to extract the joy out of this little thing is really work. Yes, when he still has a point of connection with the Creator. Well, thank you. Here's the simplest example. He was asleep, now he's standing up and supporting me thing. When something happens to you, if you're more responsible for the 10 than for yourself, you have to move. Simple as that. Okay, he feels that this is an answer more. I think there were more you want. It's still, how is that different from saying, thank God my state is bad, it's all bad. But thank God it's coming from the Creator. There's some point I seem to be missing here, that even during the descent you are adhere to the Creator, so you can say, thank God I don't adhere to the Creator. I'm in a descent, I'm just saying, so I'm not truly bond with the Creator. Yes, so what do we do? So how is that different from common people just saying thank God for everything because you want to come to a state of thanking the Creator, even in the state here, in that for you remaining in contact with the Creator is more important than all of your personal feelings about this. How to feel from a descent contact with the Creator. So what's a descent? Descent is that I'm detached from the Creator. I don't want to work, I don't feel like it, all kinds of things like that. How specifically in that point hold on to it and say, oh, that's connection to the Creator. No. Well, what is the problem about that? Ask your friend. I think the thoughts that come to a person, you have to ask where they're coming from, because they're there coming from the environment, and so the environment helps the person pay attention to the point in his heart through which he sees everything else, and this is what he should think. For that he has environment that helps him pay attention to the little bit of thoughts about that he has. Why aren't these thoughts coming from a Creator? It's the same thing from the friends. From a Creator it's the same, it's an awakening of something from the good side of which the person doesn't have much, just a little point. Interesting. What do you think? You're not thinking. Yes. End states of descent. I'm trying to raise the greatness of the Creator and trying to cling to the books. Yes. What I do, what does I give you? Wait, feel the author of the book is there, and when I read I receive the importance and greatness from him. Yeah, okay. Yes, what does it mean to be at the friend's doorstep? To connect more. To connect more. Okay, so there are no questions. Yes, maybe to add to Gad's question, I notice that there are friends, it's their style, their attitude, that they're able to see a great thing, even in something very small. Like for instance, Gillette has a very obvious such attitude, positive attitude to things that happen. He always sees the positive, and how things can be turned into something sweet and great, and I see that. There are friends whose style is see that we're not in an Adian, and we haven't detained, and what we don't have, meaning to always be in that left line, which is also true, also real, but because we still haven't detained, and where are we compared to where we need to be, and so forth. So how do we balance it in the 10 across all of those tendencies that seem natural, but it's just a friend's style of work, that this is how he sees things, and how what he awakens, and other people awaken the other point all the time. K, is there a way to balance it, or what does it depend on? It depends on a person. I think following Gilad's question, first of all, we went through very serious treatment here by the article. That makes it stand out. These thoughts. What is a thought about a friend, about this, about that, and now it works as reality, that the thought about the Creator comes from the society. And another thing that can hold us in our life is our vote. That enables the field to be in these thoughts, and this focus in the 10 with the Creator. Correct. Yes, another question. What does it mean that a person determines the state, or subdue the state? Determining the state means he determines where he comes from. What is the question? How he is going to resolve it, so by that he determines the situation. So where is man's intention? Basically in this right now it's in this. Again in determining where I am now, yes. And by that you build a new career, and in this there is a new prayer. Can. Yes, also continuing the question, I think that the main problem is to remember meaning. If in the moment of truth, like in this state of descent, I would see this paragraph and remember that this is the inner action that I need to try now. I believe that even if I wouldn't make it, I would make some attempt, some little attempt, try to hold on to it, or in the state of ascent, like what is the required action. But the thing is that in the time of truth, with all of the vortex of states, how do you remember these important principles? How to remember it? They are absorbed in you, and as it is written right on the tablet of your heart, so now it's a bit more written in us as we went through today. Yes, and then you work with your desires. Can. Yes, there's a feeling that there's a big difference with the between articles. This is an article with a lot of bigger, strong practical advice about the state of descent and how to be an enjoy and to be grateful and so forth. Other articles you feel just a general kind of state. He describes what a person need to reach and so forth. So maybe we also need to work differently with each article. I don't know, it's an article that I feel we have to really engage in the whole day, like every meeting in the tea, to try to extract this advice from here and practice it. Is that correct? Yes, no, well, okay. So, here questions here, and what you have, are they the same they sent here? It here, okay. Bring Imo from PT24 is asking, it's written that according to man's work in attaining the vessels of ball, that removes the tum, and then one begins to feel the presence of the Creator, and a person should always serve the Creator and think about how he can bring contentment to the Creator. So when a person thinks about how to delight the Creator, by that he acquires vessels of bestow from belows, asking what is it in the gratitude that brings joy to the work. The prayer of gratitude, the prayer of gratitude connects between the Creator and the created being. This is why it corrects him what is to keep contact with the Creator, keep in contact with the Creator. I think anything that a person receives from the Creator passes through his group, and therefore if he performs actions that lead him to adhesion in the 10, basically he comes into contact with the Creator. Means the person according to man's actions. Is it about the Creator's response to our actions? Yes, you can put it this way. Says that person can't thank the Creator if he has no good flavor. How when he has a beginning of a connection with the Creator, even though he doesn't feel the flavor in it, but it's the beginning of the connection. Can. Yes. Women Latin 22 there. Asking, is the gratitude is just a desire or a thought given by the Creator? Gratitude. Yes, desire or a thought given by the Creator. How do you relate to that? Gratitude, of course, it comes from the Creator and dresses in a person, and that way a person feels his response to the actions, to the operations of the Creator. Okay, so we have women Turkey. As-salam. Why did the Creator choose us and not other people for this work? We don't understand that everything follows the order of the refining of the vessels, from the smallest vessels to the greatest ones. This is why the fact that we woke up, it's because this is how to begin with the it sorts us and shakes us in order to lead us to path we need to connect with. On this path to connect and to change, and that we reach adhesion with the Creator. It's all from above. We can only add to it our work from below. Can I keep going? Does he give us the responsibility on the path, or he knows we're going to succeed? I don't understand the question. Of course the Creator knows all the thoughts and desires and all the tendencies of a person, but how eventually does it come? There's no question about that. He relates to us not from because he knows, but in order to teach us. His goal is not to lead us into the corrected form, but to give us all kinds of opportunities, possibilities, so we will change. Well, want to change. and will change, and that way come to are correct. Form and achieve. Attention. Okay, that you're not asking key a key. One key. One. It says here it doesn't matter if he works with complete knowledge, but whether he attributes the work to the Creator. What does it mean to attribute the work to the Creator when he works in tandem mutually with the Creator? Says here that it's better, it's more important than knowledge or understanding. So what is it? It's some kind of feeling I am for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. When I attracted to it, I'm attracted to it, I make efforts toward it, and in the end I feel how much we have mutual influence, mutual help, mutual support, until we begin to feel each other and come to love. Say a person sits in the lesson and he doesn't understand the material, doesn't understand the text, doesn't understand what's going on. How above that state can he build the state of mutuality with the Creator? The fact that he doesn't stand and doesn't feel and doesn't get it, it also comes to him from the Creator, and it's probably that in these states he actually wants them to connect. I don't see any unusual or bad about it. There are people who don't understand what's happening to them, and there are those who seemingly who think they understand it, each one according to it's also how each one was born made. I don't see any difference in this actually between all the created beings. Okay, no, again, well, yes, I heard you say that the Creator's goal is not to bring us to the corrected form, but to give us opportunities to reach that form, the form of so we will understand it, feel it. So that's my question, how to identify the opportunities the Creator gives, to be more alert, more sensitive to what is going through your mind and heart, and how you can reply to the Creator from your mind and heart. What does it mean to respond to the Creator for the opportunity in any state you're in? That state was created by the Creator. You have to think, why is he giving me specifically this state? And what's the expression of realizing your opportunity for attention? Yes, what does it mean that I realized the attention in the opportunity I got? That I made all the efforts to bring myself into tight contact with the Creator. So the Creator doesn't do the changes to us at all. If he only gives opportunities, he doesn't need to give anything more, and we need to turn these opportunities into degrees. So how do you change an opportunity to a degree? By accepting it as coming from the Creator, and I use it as much as possible, as much as I can, to justify the Creator, to bring me to bring myself into attention and to the possible add attention. Said that's it. Yes, oh, there are more questions. No, not well, let's begin. Yes, a person receives a tiny thought about spirituality from the Creator. We learn that all thoughts come to the Creator, come to the person from the Creator. Any thought, the slightest of the slightest, whether it's a thought about soccer or nonsense, who does the filter to say this is a good thought and all the rest are not good thoughts? Who tells the person pay attention to this thought that comes to you from the Creator? Hold on to that, and the thoughts about I don't know what, ice cream, to sleep or soccer or bad things, that too comes from the Creator, but put it aside. What helps then? What sort out? Yeah, the fact that he wants to feel the Creator, understand the Creator, and in this way to advance. What helps the person say this is good and this is bad? How does he get to the mind to say the thought about going to sleep is bad, going to the lesson is good? Both thoughts come from the Creator. What helps the person say this is good? I think it comes to him from actually he is the one who is building the group and feels how it is formulated out of his qualities, and this is what actually positions him so he responds this way to what he feels. It all depends on the extent to which he does not disconnect from the from their environment. Following on up an army, how does a person identify an opportunity according to the thoughts that run through him? Thoughts come from any direction. How do I know it's an opportunity that now I need to do the work and turn that to a degree? If I'm thinking about the purpose, the creation, then all the thoughts pass through me, but I feel from them the ones that belong to the gold, that pertain to the gold, and can I take any thought and aim it towards this goal, but I judge them to what extent they are on the way toward the goal or not. Thank you. Okay. Yes, we learned that first we come to love our friends, and then we come to the love of the Creator. Is that does this contradictory, does it contradict the lore of that says from love of friends to the love of the Creator? To bless or to justify means to love, right? What is he asking? Basically, when I love our friends and then we come to love of the Creator, but it feels to me like first this is saying to justify the Creator, and then love of friends is a different thing. But first we have to come to love the Creator to justify the Creator. How? To discover that before love of friends I can't grasp. I think it means when a person is in a state of descent where it says to settle for little and justify the Creator. So we learn that we come to the love of the Creator from the love of friends. So how can you justify the Creator directly without getting to love of friends? Is that what you meant? Yeah, it sounds to him like the order is opposite in this article, because it says to justify the Creator, but to justify the Creator we have to love the Creator, and we learned that we have to first love the friends and then the Creator. So it sounds like his opposite to you. Fair. Nice. In other words, it is impossible to come to love the Creator without being in love of friends. It is impossible to come to love of friends, right, before I love the Creator. So which is the truth? The goal of everything is to come to the love of the Creator, but how can I receive the importance of the Creator? That everything comes from above. If I won't put myself in an environment, why not first bless the friend? The article says we have to first bless the Creator, because without the Creator, world will not be able to unite and bring ourselves into one one vessel, and then in that vessel we will reveal the Creator. How to receive the right deficiency? That we have to turn to the Creator with our deficiency. How? If we don't see the friends, it's like the greatness of the friends directs me towards greatness of the Creator. Yes, it's like the opposite, that love of friends brings us to a deficiency towards the Creator. Our deficiency to the Creator needs to come from our friends. Yes, so what is the question, and what is the answer? The question is you asking me doesn't matter. Lawrence is asking. It turns out, like in the article, you're coming to the Creator. You're in a descent, you attribute it to the Creator. You justify him, and then seemingly you receive her as sweetening a mitigation of this situation. He's saying, where's the where? Are the friends in this round? We learned that we have to go to love of friends first, and from there to come to love of Creator. Here in this that we're reading in the article, ready for an hour. First I'm in a descent, I go straight to the Creator, and then where are the friends in this whole game? Is that the question? K. Okay, yes, that's close. It's close. Come you bless the friends from which I reveal that I get the greatness of the Creator. But this says that if we come to a friend, connect with him in order to reveal the greatness of the Creator, first we need to have a blessing for the greatness of the Creator. Where is the order? Here probably opposite from what we've learned. Okay, all right is his question and answer. Are they clear? It's not for the question from Lawrence, but something else. It's with you. I also want to ask you that question. And you said to me that in you these both happen simultaneously, if people both in love with friends and in the love of the Creator. And if I don't manage to be in both, then be once in that and once in that. For the time being that is correct, but is that an answer? Can is the answer that we're not supposed to approach love of friends before we have the intention of restoring contentment? True. No. It seems to me that a person first wants to come to love of the Creator, then he understands that without the love of friends he can't and he asks the Creator to help him with love of friends, and when he somehow gets there to love of friends, he somewhat comes to love the Creator. That's how he goes back and forth. Can we translate the title in such way that to bless the Creator is to bestow, and to receive peace is to receive in order to bestow? Possible. What am I do with you? I want to make it even more confusing if it's okay with you. He writes here for the first time in the paragraph before the end that we need to know in the matter of the work that every person is a complete world. It turns out that also his friend means the body, as he has the niche with the of the. For seems like it's the first time that he talks about his friend means the body. What's the meaning of that? He's dividing the person into a body and a soul, and that's how he scrutinizes the relationship between them. How is it connected to us feeling and seeing friend to the fact that in internality the friend is the body? What's the connection between this and that? In its internality, each and everyone is part of the general soul. I see that we got into this loop today. Can know what are we going to do next? The world see a lee. Okay, very well. Let's start as usual with Turkey. What is necessary for a person to feel and attain wholeness, and how does that deficiency help us rise above the barrier? Again, what is necessary for a person in order to attain wholeness, perfection, and how does that deficiency help us rise above the barrier? Because to attain the complete fulfillment from our source is to be above the barrier. That's in essence the same. Art more asaya China the China dear are. How do we maintain this priority of connection with the Creator during the day? Connection with the Creator, we determine it, we establish it through the 10. What's the question? They repeat again quickly. What are you asking? How do we maintain this priority of connection? That's also from the 10, from the feeling that it's the most important thing for the 10. Okay, thank you. I also have a question and maybe an answer to Lawrence. This state of loneliness which we attribute to the Creator, and this mitigates the situation. It's because he has no choice, he has no other ability to perform any movement here, and the moment he attributes it to the Creator and sweetens it, he can make some form of action towards the friends. That's maybe also a question and an answer. Okay, the question is whether this is an egoistic state, because he writes that it's a whole state. Yes, and what does it hold, and what can you add to the state? It's a state, it altogether just sweet. And his loneliness, he came to a certain point of joy from being higher than what he was before. But in what is it whole? Now there's no ball here yet, there's no bestow yet, but he's advancing. One takes one step forward. Thank you to Hi for free. Good morning, Rare World. Celia, it seems like Rabash in this article is giving like small tips of how a person needs to appeal to the Creator, how he needs to build a prayer. If that's correct, he's truly very juicy in the tips that he wants to person wants to pray and again scrutinize how to come out of his state. Yes, if I understand that Rabash here is telling us that this is the work in one person, in the way of the work that person is a small world, that the friend is the body, it's not the friend in the T. And that's why the right should control the left. He has to first see that even though he's not whole, that he's working in spirituality is wholeness, and only then he will be able to talk to the body. But first arrange the wholeness, the intention, and then he will be able to work on the correction of the environment. This is much more forward, but correct. Thank you, Rob. Can we say that there are only two states that exist in reality, which are being connected to the Creator and being separated from the Creator, and since there's no independent reality, things are being depicted to us as bad or good depend only on the state that we're currently in. In other words, if we're close or distant from the image and the more we think of others instead of ourselves, the closer we get to the Creator. Very well, thank you. Must speak. No, it's enough. Must speak. That's enough. I see you free. My question would be on Lawrence Question okay, so it says love, love, love. But friends, in order to develop love of friends, we need a AR, and this AR would be to help each other to justify the Creator. And by justifying the Creator, we reach love of friends, and from that we reach the Creator. Is that correct? Approach, it seems as if it's the opposite, but it's correct. Seems like it's the opposite, but it is actually correct. What should we do? More Latin. Woman, hello dear world. CLE, a moment ago you said that we should ask ourselves why we're going through every state, so the question is whether in these questions that we should scrutinize, we should come to the understanding of what the correction is behind every state. Can yes? K. Yes. Let's go to the next part, so let's sing a song together. Please wah 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 la I see I see wah 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 forma for wah 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 La. We are reading in the study of the 10-volume 2-part 6. We are in the section called Inner Observation. Item 6. Item 6 Observation being explained that the very cause of the emergence of the level of phase 1 called Mar and B is the last. Har, meaning of are related to the last. He which is phase 4 is G, of whose level is up, to the second is, of which are Mar and B of a whose level is up, to which went out because of the ascent of the Bihar which is phase 4 too, that the reason phase 4 did not elicit the level of here as N will be explained below. He finds that through the clash of surrounding light with inner light, the power of restriction in the screen of the turbo of Galter keeps broadening, since once it had been refined into phase 3, that to S of the second part of a called AB expanded from it after it had been refined into phase 2A, third called S expanded from it, and finally after it had been finded into phase 1 expanded from it called Mar and B of I think it's clear, yeah, there's no innovations here. Item 7 we must thoroughly understand, since the screen had already been refined into phase 1, meaning the measure of coarseness found in the vessel, of how can phase 4 still participate here with its coarseness, so that through the both of them the level of Mar and Bun would emerge. Furthermore, if phase 4 has actually been connected here with phase 1 on the level of should have emerged, why did only the level of emerge here, meaning ask the measure of the level of phase 1 and not the level of phase 4? The thing is that it is known that there is no issue of refinement in the vessels, hence even though the screen of phase 4 that operated in has been refined when it emanated, then nevertheless the vessels themselves were not changed by that in any way. The coarseness of phase 4 remained in them as in the beginning before the refinement of the screen. However, after the light departed from them, no action manifests from them, since a vessel without light is like a body without a soul. After they of expanded and shone from to there of this illumination of sag, the coarseness of phase 4 in the vessels from the turbo over and below was revived as in the beginning, and then the coarseness of phase 4 in the vessels from the turbo over and below mixed with the screen and the vessels of, since in the ascent of the screen to where emanator it is incorporated with all the records in the from which they had departed, thus as it was incorporated with the records of the of sag which are phase 2, it was also incorporated with the records in the vessels from the tab down which are phase 4. It raised those two phases together to their emanator which is of the of S. You already know that this screen consists solely of the coarseness of phase 1 because phase 2 is the last phase here, which does not leave a record behind it, but only from the phase of clothing th. The screen consists of two records that remained after the departure of the lights from the of S, which are phase 2 of clothing and phase 1 of extension called male and female also rose to phase 1 of the meaning according to the measure of coarseness contained in the record that remained in the screen, which is phase 1. However, the record of phase 4 is also included in the screen that remained in the vessels below of after the departure of the from within them. Hence, since the screen is primarily phase 1 and phase 4 is subordinate to it and is not at all from its phase, it was drawn with it to Vake, which is phase 1 of the. For this reason, there was not made on the coarseness of phase 4, which draws the level of, but only on phase 1, which draws the level of sin. That's clear. Yes, these things, there's nothing new here. Let's go with all that's been explained thus far. You will understand that the corrections depend primarily on mar and standing from the tap of every par downward, since that is the place of the judgment and efficiency in every par too, as in the tarbo of the first part of, and likewise in all the to the end of. Also every lower paru comes only to fill and complement the place of this lack in the upper one, because of the force of rejection and detainment that is present in the screen of that tarbo over the upper light, as he writes above. Any the lower one reveals a part of that light which was rejected by the screen of the table of the upper one. Thus the more time and souls multiply, the more that boundary from the taboo and below expands and becomes fit to receive the upper light. Finally, the general surrounding light, called surrounding light of ends, appears, and then it will be the end of correction. The corrections depend primarily only on him, and that's done from down. Remember this, as this is a fundamental concept in the entire scope of the wisdom. Thus this world of Nick that the engages in here is the first mar, and B that appeared in the world is called merely bon, because all that remains from it to come to the worlds. AB is the phase of female called B, as the male that draws the meaning they is called, and the female that receives they is called. Kid about the plaque of sometimes we say that they're above the tarbo, and here he explaining that they're below the tarbo. If you can explain the placement of these two parts of not yet writes here that in the many pim and souls, that is how the expansion from tarbo and down takes place. What does it mean? That the boundary expands. What's happening? The more the and souls multiply, the more the light expands in the vessels that are getting corrected and are ready to receive it in order to bestow to that extent the light descends until it reaches the suum, the line of at the end, and until here there's the restriction, and until then the boundary is in the tarbo. Can a question from a friend? Are mar and bon the only ones that have free choice? That belong to the first restriction. Then they don't lack any vessels. They don't need to correct anything, rather they need to correct according to the man that is coming up to them from the of and in, and of themselves do not require correction. So that's how it is. Thank you. No. MIMO who of you. Okay, I want to ask about this sentence. Every lower one discovers a part of this light that is rejected due to the screen of tap of the upper in a manner that the more thin souls expand. This boundary from tap below expands. Can you explain please what it means that the light that is rejected from the screen of the upper one actually goes and is revealed in the lower one? Yes. What does that mean? The upper one rejected the light because it probably can't receive it in order to bestow, and it's being revealed in the low one, meaning there, as far as I understand, it's even less possibilities to receive it in order to bestow according to the simple explanation. You're correct. But what is he saying? Actually, he's saying that by when the upper one receives the light in order to bestow, he organizes the lower one an opportunity to also reach its degree, to be incorporated in the coupling and to be in order to bestow. That's it. If you explain the last paragraph, he says that only the bone remains as a female, and I didn't understand the whole matter of the upper three it's associated with. The if it doesn't go down I didn't understand. You can explain this part. Where of mar and bon in the last paragraph, those last few lines where only the bone remains, that's the world of that. The discusses here is the first M and bone that appeared in the world. It is called merely bone because all that remains from it to come to the world AB is the phase, or the aspect of female called bone as the male that draws the moin, meaning the god, is called mar, and the female that receives the mo is called B. What are the questions? I understand that division, but I don't understand how it's expressed. What is this mind bore? Is it the part that I don't understand why only the bone one is depicted? I don't understand that, but only remains you explain this paragraph. These last two lines we will continue soon because the whole the matter here is correction, because it's happening below the tarbor. I would like to scrutinize the matter. That always jumps up how the lower one, which is actually weaker than the upper one, is capable of drawing more light. Can it be that it is weaker and yet the variety of things that it can reveal is more and it can do more? More scrutiny and more precise is that. Right, scrutinize and more scrutiny and more precise scrutiny. Yes, in essence, you're correct. It can perform a more accurate scrutiny, but on its level. That's why there's another plan in place for the shattering of their vessels. There's another plan here to shatter the vessels. We'll learn about it later and understand more. I have a question. I have an example. If I wanted to see if it's right or not, where what the lower one contributes to the upper one, think that the upper one is like you're filling a vessel with water. There's no empty space, but if fill a vessel with like marbles, there's room between the marbles. Right depiction of how the upper one is filled with a certain resolution, and then the lower one can fill those gaps between them. Kind of interesting. It could be a nice example. And another question, he explains that the fourth phase, when it mixes with the second phase, it doesn't contribute its coarseness, and therefore the coupling remains only on phase 2, raising the level of Z. What does it contribute? Actually, which coupling? He explains in what we just read in item 7, that the mingling of the of S in the fourth phase in with the raises the records also from the fourth phase. They both rise, and also the records of phase 4, but he calls it not being used and in the level of KT also. What does that record of phase 4 doing? What does it contribute? The record of phase 4 awakens everything in the beginning, and then later he gives you permission to work part that can work for correction. What does it mean? It's giving permission because he said it doesn't deal with that cornice right now, correct? So what does it mean that it's giving permission? Mean it's not giving you permission to use the fourth phase, but anything below that you didn't understand. We'll learn it. Okay, let's go to we're going to move to the next part of their lesson. We're reading in the writings of Bassam. The article is the acting mind. The acting mind is written that every person is obliged to attain the root of his soul. This means that the aspired for purpose of the created being is adhesion with his qualities, as it is written, and to cleave on to him. Our Esaias interpreted that this is the with his attributes, as he is merciful, etc. His qualities are the holy, and this is the acting mind that guides his world, and by which he allots them his bestow and goodness. But we must understand why this is called adhesion with the Creator, with the Creator, as it seems to be mere learning. I will explain with an allegory. In every operation in the world, the mind of its operator remains in that operation. In a table, one can attain the carpenter's mind and deftness in his craft, whether great or small. This is so because while working he built it with his mind and the quality of his mind, and one who observes this operation and considers the mind imprinted in it during this act, he is attached to the mind that performed it, meaning they actually unite. In truth, there is no distance or sensation between spirituals even when they are in distinct bodies, but the mind in them cannot be distinguished, since what knife can cut the spiritual and leave it separated? Rather, the main difference between spirituals is in their qualities, meaning praiseworthy or blameworthy, and the composition, since a mind that calculates astronomy will not cling to one that contemplates natural sciences. There's a great diversity even within the same teaching. If one exceeds another and even one element, it separates the spirituals from one another. But when two sages contemplate the same teaching and have the same measure of knowledge, they are in fact united. For what separates them? When one contemplates another's action and attains the mind of the sage who performed it, they have the same mind and power. Now they are completely united, like a man who met his beloved friend on the street. He embraces him and kisses him, and because of their great unity it is impossible to separate them. And the rule is that in the speaking, the mind is the best adjusted force between the Creator and his creatures. It is considered the medium, meaning he emanated a spark of that force, and through that spark everything returns to him. Written in wisdom, you have made them all, meaning that he created the whole world with his wisdom. One who is rewarded with attaining the manners by which he created the world and its conducts is adhered to the mind that performed them. Thus he is adhered to the Creator. This is the meaning of the Torah, being all the names of the Creator which belong to the created beings, and by their merit the created being attains the mind that does everything. Since the Creator looked in the Torah when he created the world, and one achieves illumination through creation and forever adheres to that mind. Thus he is adhered to the Creator. Now we understand why the Creator showed us his tools of craftsmanship, for do we need to create worlds? But from the above mentioned we gather that the Creator has shown us his conduct, so we may know how to adhere to him, which is cleave unto his attributes. Not so who can answer to cleave to his measures, to his qualities. Is that enough in order to see that we are adhered to the Creator? Again, I think that yes, if it's true adhesion to the measures of the Creator, you well the qualities in you, and also attainment, understanding of why he did it and how he operates, and it seems like it's true adhesion. Why not? We have known nothing more to attain. What from being adhered to his measure, to his qualities? It seems like yes, because that's the when we're adhered to his measures, we actually reveal his thought, the way he operates, all the good that does good. That's the purpose of creation. What else is there? Is there something beyond that? Ken? Yes? No? What is the meaning that his intentions are the holy? SB, he's rising to a state where what he receives from the Creator, the light that reforms, builds in him these holy qualities, qualities of bestow. Ken is loving the Creator, enter into adhering to his qualities. To love the Creator, is that enough? Yes, and you love the Creator, the Lord your God. Does that enter into cleaving unto his measures, or into adhering to his measures? Yes. First is also receiving in order to bestow the actual purpose of creation, or is it only equivalent with qualities? Adhesion, when I act in the same direction, the same line as the Creator, except he does not receive in order to bestow, and I must reach receiving in order to bestow. So when we see adhesion, it's actually the purpose of creates, not just correction. True correction, the final adhesion, is the purpose of creation. The true adhesion, the final adhesion, is the purpose of creation. He writes that the mind in the speaking is the more adapted force between the Creator and his created beings. It's the medium which emanated one spark from that force, and by that spark everything is possible to return, meaning not by the measures, but rather by the mind. We need a mind we have to attain. The mind of the Creator, that's what draws us back. Yes, but mind is a force that attracts. The mind is what arranges everything, and everything is drawn to this force in the mind. Mind, seemingly it's the mind that arranges the actions of bestow. Why does it draw us to him? He says that it's enough that this spark to feel, that when you take one spark of that godly mind, and that by that every spark returns they drawn to it. So we need from all of our actions to constantly, from everything we go through, to gather those sparks. Okay, he says, why did the Creator show us his tools of his craftsmanship? He showed us his orders so we will know how to adhere to him. What tools of craftsmanship or orders did show us the end of correction? What's happening when that vessel now becoming as a vessel that connects everything and includes everything? But he says that he shows us these things, but where does he show us these things to us? I can't tell you where it is. It didn't happen in history, yet each one that is starting to, well, not starting, but on the way, on the path, the ascending spiritual corrections he acquires, and the transition between the worlds as it where he acquires the impression from all the vessels that are incorporated into a single vessel. It sounds like an opposite order. He says a person looks at the table, he learns how to know the carpenter and the mind that was operating there. Yes, here, according to your answer, we have to first know the mind that's operating and reach there, then you'll even see the table. It's not understood how to learn. From your actions we learn you, and etc. No, the Creator is showing you the fruit of his work, of his labor, the world, and from that you come to a state where you come to know him more and more. The Creator shows me, or at least I see, the world that's corrupted, not the corrected world that he planned. Or but that they tell you, that's like that Lego that you have to put together. Lego set, and then you understand him, and you justify him. So where's the example of the table and the carpenter here? From the governance I don't understand, from broken table I don't understand how the carpenter worked right also with a broken table. You can imagine to yourself, of course, not you by yourself, but not as wise as the experience, they say here, since you didn't understand that's something before you that you must bring to wholeness. How can we practically use this article from what we see that the Creator created to come to him or learn from him? Practically, what can you reach with your own mind? Nothing in spirituality, and nevertheless to do what we're told to do, to keep the orders that we were taught, and we need to reach a state where the Creator does everything. That's what you have to come to when you're looking for is to correct the world within your own mind. That's completely incorrect. So if we're just waiting for the Creator or turning to the Creator to correct, where can I learn from this acting mind like he's writing the article? It's like a baby that his mother brings him everything he needs. Oh, so a baby learns from state to state. Don't see it like at. We come to the degree of the baby, from the degree of baby to the all the way to degree of their Creator. A baby knows the world literally, doesn't know his mother or why she's caring for him, but gradually he attains her as he grows up. Okay, I understand that you are feeling a bit perplexed. Where are we? Where's the purpose of creation? Where's the correction? Will we reach anything? Doesn't seem to us like we're reaching anything that's a good feeling. What will we do about it? Do we have anything to do about it, or not? We have to turn to the Creator with this question. That has to be the cry, and if it's still not ready, that's what he writes about. Many are walking on the path, many will fall until they will reach the correct solution. That's what we'll be here. No friends asked me to raise my hand. I didn't want to raise my hand. I just want to say this kind of thing. Yesterday in the 10, in this context, yesterday in our 10, we decided we exist in order to uplift the world. CLE, and in that issue we were adhered in the lesson and the article of rash and the test and the article now in a completely different way that we were never adhered to also questions rose. From our friends in the lesson, we just wanted to recommend also as an answer to the question that by the 10, managing to come to some form of agreement that advances us forward, it's a force that there's no such thing in reality. So thank you for the advice that you're giving us all the time. Mostly thank you to the 10 who took these advices and into implementation. Thank you and thank the creator. Okay, we started with Rash's article, and the friends really tried to go into the mind and the feeling, and a moment or two ago you talked about the confusion maybe, and the confusion was in test with thinking about worlds and matters and their rising and lowering, and they say oh, and it's clear to everyone, and we already know where we're standing. We already talked about that. I was like that cat that lifts his ear up like that and hears music and doesn't know what's going on at all. And then we come to this article. Where are we, and where's all this matter? It's like Chinese, and we're here a cat that's lifting his ears. That's the perplexity that you describe this feeling of there is a where is this thing. What you're saying is a beautiful, that's what we need to attain to think about, to feel. Then we have the great attitude toward what we're learning, and to the creator, and to our connection we wish to gather, because only this cry and the children of Israel, aside from the work, only with this kind of cry we exit from their exile. When we check ourselves, our intellect, all kinds of wisdoms, whether everything is coming to us from the empty vessel specifically that is beginning to be revealed more and more. Okay, how from the feeling of confusion do we come to an outcry? Imagine, and the children of Israel sigh from the work, and the groaning went up to the creator, and everything what states they were in despair, no future, no support, like lacking everything in that state, feeling this obscurity, fogginess, confusion. What do you need to do? Do you need to resist that state? Accept it as it is. What to do here to arrive at that outcry? You think, how do we come to it? How do we come to a cry from the state that we're in? We don't know where to go, to what extend, how much know the imagine. How did Moses feel? How did he get there? I don't know. How will we get there? You will know. Well, that's it, but this cry has to be from the bottom of the heart, from the general heart, and the great cry when we want only one thing, to have the awareness of the creator, adhesion with the creator. That's it. So I see in your state a beautiful state, not seeking knowledge, intellect, we're seeking adhesion. Okay, thank you to the whole world. CLE, our broadcast schedule for today, Sunday 1110, the introduction to this book of Saw at 11:40.